Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's early. I think the sun's just getting ready to pop up over the ridge, and it's humid. Humidity is in the 90s, 90%, 94, 93, something like that. They keep saying we might get some rain. They've been saying this for a couple of days, and it has been raining and pulling some of that moisture out of the air in other places, but not around here. Maybe we will still get it. Today is Independence Day. People all over the country will be celebrating by shooting off fireworks, even though they don't really have any concept of what they're celebrating. It's just become another beer and barbecue and fireworks kind of thing. And it's sad, but the truth is, and this is gonna maybe hurt a few feels, the truth is that it's just a Remembrance Day. We're not celebrating independence anymore. I mean, you may in your own mind be celebrating independence. You may be celebrating freedom, but the reality is that it's just a Remembrance Day. It's remembering what once was. We have long since gone past freedom, and this argument that probably all of us have made from time to time. Well, we're still the freest nation on earth, and on some accounts that may be true, but I don't think that that's 100% true. But the fact is we cannot compare the freedom we have to other countries. We have to look at it from where we've come from, and we are, as a nation, we are way more controlled and way more oppressed now than we really were when we fought for independence. We're taxed way heavier. The government is maybe not housing troops in our homes, but they're inside of our homes, watching everything that we do, controlling our lives. I've said for years, and I've yet to have someone give me a straight, honest, complete answer. Find me something that is in your life, something that you use, something that you consume, something that affects you, that's just in your life, that is not taxed, regulated, controlled, or in some way manipulated by government. You can't really say the air because they're constantly testing and manipulating and spraying that stuff. You can't say what, you can't say land. There's no land in this country anymore that is not either taxed by government or owned by government. Water, it's the same way. People, there's nothing. There's nothing. And it's a sad thing that we've gotten to this point. And then you look at this current election that's just, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. We've got one guy that's just, I mean, he's about to the point he needs to be in a nursing home. Even his own party wants to get rid of him, but for whatever reason, whatever the plan, the psyop is that he's saying he's staying in office and continuing to run. And you've got Donald Trump, which on all appearances looks to be way better than Joe Biden, but still not someone that I can get excited about when I look at the things that he says and does that don't hold up against what I see in the Bible as what a righteous leader is. So the world that we're in is in a bad shape, and America is maybe some of the worst shape because we have so much more possibility and capability of greatness and capability of freedom, and yet we've wasted it all away, and that's sad. And so on a day like today, it's for me personally. Yes, I am a proud, patriotic American, and I'm quite the history buff, and I know our history, and I all of these things. But am I excited anymore to celebrate our independence? No, not really, because it's not there any longer. It's fake. the only freedom we have is what they allow us to have anymore. And unfortunately, there's been too many generations of men that have sat by and allowed it to happen. And I'm no different than them. I'm not saying that, I've done great things versus everyone else. We've all allowed it to happen. I think most of us now have awakened enough that we're taking a stand and we're pushing back as much as we can. But it's probably too little too late, because now any pushback that we do, there's so much control, there's so much infrastructure of government, there's Big Brother is so huge that it's nearly impossible for anyone to take a stand for very long before they just get taken out. And that's kind of the plan, this idea of the Minutemen standing up in line and taking a stand and making that shot heard around the world. It's not going to happen, because they take the individual out before they ever get to that point. And what are we supposed to do? Just suck it up and accept our fate? I think that's what they're hoping. But we have to, at first, to do anything to change anything, we have to get to a point that we don't need them. And that's the big thing. That's the argument that I've had for years. That we can sit here and talk about how we're going to resist this, and we're going to fight back here, and we're going to train to do this, and we're going to all this kind of stuff. But if we're still dependent, if we're still suckling at the teat of government and corporations and regulations, then we're not really going to be able to fight back that much. That's why we have to break the bonds of the system. I've talked for years that there needs to be a cultural secession. We need to secede from this society, secede from this system, and do our very best to become as independent and self-sufficient as possible, and at least have the capabilities of doing that when it comes down to the hard times. Because as long as we're stuck dependent upon the system so that we can eat and have electricity and heat and cool and water and medicine and protection, well, then they control us. I don't know exactly how this is all going to end. I do know what the good book says. And I think because of that, I believe it's going to get a lot worse. I think we're in those times that have been spoken of in the Bible. And because of that, it's going to get worse. This idea that one person is going to get elected and is going to bring about peace and stop all the wars and fix the economy. Well, if any of you believe that we're in those end times spoken of in the Bible, there's only one person mentioned in the Bible that actually does those things and brings about a peace. It's not the good guy. So either we're nowhere near anything that's spoken of in Scripture, or we're in that era, and the person that a lot of people are praising as the one that's going to fix it all is actually the worst guy there is. I don't know. Something to think about, because in Scripture, throughout all, and it's not just Revelation, throughout all Scripture, when it talks about the end times, it doesn't ever mention there being some kind of revival or some type of awakening and people coming back to, honesty and freedom and a good righteous leader that rises up. Those things are not mentioned. And so it's tough, because we've got one part of the population that's so caught up in all the evilness that's just what they've become. And then you have another part of the population that's blinded because they think that this one person is going to save them. And that's very unlikely. So for the rest of us, we just, I don't know. We keep getting ourselves ready. We try to create or recreate our own alternatives. our own alternative community, our alternative system, you know, our own way to passively resist all this by just saying, you know what, I'm going to use you as little as possible. I'm going to set myself up in a place that when I don't need you at all, I can still survive. And build coalitions and relationships with people around me so that we can all do the same together. And maybe even at some point, stand on that line and make that final call of that we're not taking it anymore. So today is I guess a normal day for many of you. Some of you may do something special or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. But instead of just remembering the amazingness of how America was once free, why don't you think about the tragedy and how America has just lost it all, has given it up for what? Comforts, conveniences, modernity, technology. I don't know. But we gave it all away for nothing. And here we are today, one of the more controlled peoples on this planet. It's kind of sad. But there's still hope for us as individuals. Maybe not as a nation, but just for us as individuals. So keep pushing forward. Keep building relationships with those around you, making plans, prepping up, because it's time to get your houses in order. And prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.